Hare Krishna devotees, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Guru and Gauranga. Welcome to our discussion of Srila Prabhupada's small book. Today we are going to start with a new book which is about the perfection of yoga. So many of us confuse with this word yoga, which means to connect, to add, to join. So what does it actually mean? Nowadays yogas are referred generally as exercise, meditation, various types of asanas, pranayams. Is it like that or something else? So this question is known by this book, or question is answered by this book. What is actually the yogas? What are the types of yogas? And what is the essence of all yoga system? So we are reading the writings or instructions of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of our society, International Society for Kṛṣṇa Consciousness. So this is very great book, specifically contained yoga. What is actually yoga? Yoga as a work, as devotion, yoga as a meditation, yoga as a body and mind control, freedom from duality and resignations, falls of unsuccessful yogis, feat of unsuccessful yogi, and the perfection of yoga. So all this contents, it is like a very, very detailed analysis on the word, on the term based yoga. So let's start our first chapter discussion. It's about yoga as re-establishing relationship with Kṛṣṇa. So before starting our discussion, let us offer our Mangalacharan prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vikantam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsa Hare Kṛṣṇa Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Pranamami Harite Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namni Gaurasuse Namah Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nityanamane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatare Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, the perfection of yoga, chapter 1, yoga as re-establishing relations with Krishna. We have heard many times of yoga system. We have heard many times of the yoga system. The yoga system is approved by Bhagavad Gita, but the yoga system in Bhagavad Gita is especially meant for purification. The aim is threefold: to control the senses, to purify activities, and to link oneself to Krishna in a reciprocal relationship. The absolute truth is realized in the three stages: impersonal Brahman, localized Paramatma, Super Soul, and ultimately Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the final analysis, the Supreme Absolute Truth is a person, and simultaneously He is the all-pervading Super Soul within the hearts of all living entities and within the core of all atoms. And He is the Brahma Jyoti, or effulgence of spiritual light as well. Bhagavan Sri Kṛṣṇa is full of all opulences as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but at the same time He is the full of all renunciation. In the material world, we find that one who has much opulence is not very much inclined to give it up. I repeat, in the material world, we find that one who has much opulence is not very much inclined to give it up. But Krishna is not like this. He can renounce everything and remain complete in himself. When we read or study Srimad Bhagavad Gita under a bona fide spiritual master, we should not think that the spiritual master is presenting his own opinions. It is not he who is speaking. He is just an instrument. The real speaker is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is both within and without. At the beginning of his discourse on the yoga system in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says, Anashrita karma phalam karyam karma karoti ya sa sannyasi cha yogi cha nani nirang nirna cha kriyaha. Or translations: one who is unattached to the fruit of his work and who works as he is obligated is in the renounced order of life, and he is the true mystic, not he who lights no fire and performs no work. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse number 1. Everyone is working and expecting some result. One may ask, what is the purpose of working if no result is expected? A remuneration or a salary is always demanded by the worker, but here Krishna indicates that one can work out of sense of duty alone, not expecting the result of his activities. If one works in this way, then he is actually a sannyasi. He is in the renounced order of life. According to the Vedic culture, there are 4 stages of life: Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. Brahmachari is a student life devoted to training in spiritual understanding. Grahastha life is a married householder life. Then upon reaching the approximate age of 50, one may take a Vanaprastha order, that is, he leaves his home and children and travels with his wife to holy places of pilgrimage. Finally, he gave up both wife and children and remained alone to cultivate Krishna consciousness, and that stage is called sannyas, or the renounced order of life. Yet Krishna indicates that for the sannyasi, renunciation is not all. In addition, there must be some duty. What then the duty for sannyasi? For the one who has renounced family life and no longer has material obligations, his duty is a most responsible one. It is to work for Krishna. Moreover, this is the real duty for everyone in all stages of life. In everyone's life, there are 2 duties. One is to serve the illusion, and other is to serve the reality. When one serves the reality, he is a real sannyasi, and when one serves the illusion, he is deluded by Maya. One has to understand, however, that he is in all circumstances forced to serve. Either he serves the illusion or the reality. The constitutional position of living entity is to be a servant, not a master. Everyone in the material world is a servant. No one is master. One may think that he is master, but he is actually a servant. When one has a family, he may think that he is the master of his family, his wife or his children or his home, business and so on. But that is all false. One is actually the servant of his wife, of his children and of his business. The president may be considered to be the master of the country, but actually he is a servant of the country. Our position is always as servant, either as a servant of illusion or as a servant of God. If, however, we remain the servant of the illusion, then our life is wasted. Of course, everyone is thinking that he is not a servant, that is working only for himself. Although the fruits of his labor are transient and illusory, they force him to become a servant of illusion or servant of his own senses. But when one awakens to his transcendental sense and actually becomes situated in knowledge, he then becomes servant of the reality. When one comes to the platform of knowledge, he understands that in all circumstances he is a servant, since it is not possible for him to be a master. He is much better situated serving the reality instead of the illusion. When one becomes aware of this, he attains the platform of real knowledge. When one becomes aware of this, he attains the platform of real knowledge. By sannyasa, the renounced order of life, we prefer to one who has come to this platform. Sannyasa is a question of realization, not a social status. It is the duty of everyone to become Kṛṣṇa conscious and to serve the cause of Kṛṣṇa. When one actually realizes this, he becomes a Mahatma or a great soul. In Bhagavad Gita, Kṛṣṇa says that after many births, when one comes to the platform of real knowledge, he surrenders unto me. Why this? Vasudeva Sarvamiti. The wise man realizes that Vasudeva Kṛṣṇa is everything. However, Kṛṣṇa says that such a great soul is rarely found. Why is this? If an intelligent person comes to understand that the ultimate goal of life is to surrender into Kṛṣṇa, why should he hesitate? Why not surrender immediately? What is the point of waiting for so many births? When one comes to that point of surrender, he becomes a real sannyasi. Kṛṣṇa never forced anyone to surrender unto him. Surrender is a result of love, transcendental love. Where there is a force and where there is no freedom, there can be no love. When a mother loves a child, she is not forced to do so, nor does she do so out of expectation of some salary or remuneration. Similarly, we can love the Supreme Lord in so many ways. We can love Him as a master, as a friend, as a child, or as a husband. There are 5 basic rasas or relationships in which we are eternally related to God. When we are actually in the liberated stage of knowledge, we can understand that our relationship with the Lord is a particular rasa. That platform is called Swarupa Siddhi or real self-realization. Everyone has an eternal relationship with the Lord, either as a master and servant, friend and friend, parent and child, husband and wife, or lover and beloved. These relationships are eternally present. The whole process of spiritual realization and the actual perfection of yoga is to revive our consciousness of this relationship. At present, our relationship with the Supreme Lord is pervertedly reflected to this material world. In the material world, the relationship between master and servant is based on money or force or exploitation. There is no question of service out of love. The relationship between master and servant, pervertedly reflected, continues only for so long as master can pay the servant. As soon as the payment stops, the relationship also stops. Similarly, in the material world, there may be a relationship between friends, but as soon as there is a slight disagreement, the friendship breaks and the friend becomes an enemy. When there is a difference of opinion between son and parents, the son leaves home and relationship is severed. The same with husband and wife, slight difference of opinion and there is a divorce. No relationship in this material world is actual or eternal. We must always remember that the ephemeral relationships are simply perverted reflections of that eternal relationship that we have with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We have experienced that the reflection of an object in a glass is not real. It may appear real, but when we go to touch it, we find that there is only a glass. You must come to understand that this relationship as a friend, parent, child, master, servant, husband, wife, or lover are simply a reflection of that relationship that we have with God. When we come to this platform of understanding, then we are perfect in knowledge. When that knowledge comes, we begin to understand that we are the servant of Kṛṣṇa and that we have an eternal love relationship with Him. In this love relationship, there is no question of remuneration, but of course remuneration is there, and it is much greater than whatever we earn here through the rendering service, through the rendering of service. There is no limit to Sri Kṛṣṇa's remuneration. In this connection, there is a story of a Bali Maharaj, a very powerful king who conquered a number of planets. The denizens of the heavenly planets appealed to the Supreme Lord to save them, for they have been conquered by demonic king Bali Maharaj. Upon hearing their plea, Sri Kṛṣṇa took a shape of a dwarf Brahmana boy and approached Bali Maharaj, saying, "My dear king, I would like something from you. You are a great monarch and renowned for giving in charity to the Brahmanas. So would you give me something?" Bali Maharaj said, "I will give you what you want. I simply want whatever land I can cover in 3 steps," the boy said. "Oh, is that all?" the king replied. "And what will you do with the small piece of land?" "Though it may be small, it will suffice me," the boy smiled. Bali Maharaj agreed, and the boy dwarf took 2 steps and covered the entire universe, and then asked Bali Maharaj where he was going to take his 3rd step. And Bali Maharaj understanding that the Supreme Lord was showing him his favor, replied, "My dear Lord, I have now lost everything. I have no other property, but I do have my head. Would you so kindly step there?" Lord Kṛṣṇa was then very much pleased with Bali Maharaj, and he asked, What would you like from me?" "I never expected anything from you," Bali Maharaj said, "but I understand that you wanted something from me, and now I have offered to you everything." "Yes," the Lord said, "but from my side I have something for you. I shall remain always as an order carrier servant in your court." In this way the Lord became Bali Maharaj's doorman, and that was his return. If we offer something to the Lord, it is returned million of times. But we should not expect this. The Lord is always eager to return the service of His servant. Whoever thinks that the service of the Lord is actually his duty is perfect in knowledge and has attained the perfection of yoga. So with this we have completed our discussion on chapter number 1 of this book, The Perfection of Yoga. Thank you so much for hearing. Your servant Brijesh Tanaya Das.